Civil society, the private sector and government must fight the COVID-19 battle together. The Solidarity Fund has been used to wage the war. It's a fund with contributions from the public and private sectors. Its latest project is funding the Vooma vaccination weekends. Let's speak to Wendy Tlou from the fund. Wendy, thank you very much for speaking us today. Of course, this is a very good program to encourage South Africans to get vaccinated so we reach our herd immunity. Yesterday was the launch. How have we done so far?
Yes, it is absolutely a great way to encourage South Africans and to remind us why it's important for us to get vaccinated. Yesterday we saw what we're calling a Vooma weekend effect of an increase of about 27% in terms of vaccinations, with 23% of those being first doses. And that is compared to the last 4 days average of vaccinations. We're hoping that today will be larger than that, significantly larger than that, but also even beyond this weekend, we're hoping that South Africans maintain the spirit of the Vooma weekend and go out there in numbers, because it is critically important, as you say, that by the end of the year, we have vaccinated as many adults as possible, 18 years and older, so that we can have a shot at some semblance of normality when we go into the festive season and into next year.
Wendy, just assist me, when did the decision for the Vooma Weekends campaign come along? When was it decided that this needs to happen? Because, you know, we're in October now, and our target as a country is 67% by December. That's in 2 months or so. So when did this decision come about?
I think the discussions have been ongoing in government and together with the presidency and the president. And I think that after having seen the response from the time we opened up for 60 plus, for the 50 pluses, and then for the 35 plus, and now for the 18 plus, we have seen an upshot in the uptake of vaccination from early adopters. The big challenge now is to get what we're calling the movable middle, who intend to vaccinate, but perhaps are not early adopters. And we really need to get those people to eventually get through the vaccination journey and get the jabs in the arm. So it has been something that has been thought about, has been discussed, but we felt that the time is now for us to actually implement it as we go into the festive season, so that we get as many South Africans as possible by December, either with the first shot or at least fully vaccinated by that time.
And of course, this is to make sure that we don't have another bleak December like we did last year when the president told us to rather switch on candles. I think a lot of South Africans would agree we don't want a fourth wave. But of course, talking about these weekends, these Vooma weekends, how exactly is it going to work? We saw the president yesterday going into taxi ranks, for instance. Will there be, for instance, stations at taxi ranks and areas such as that?
Yes, so part of the work that we are doing as a Solidarity Fund together and in support of the vaccine program, which is really led by the National Department of Health, is that we have invested about close to 300 million in what we're calling surge sites. And those are really mobile sites, roving sites that are about leveraging places where people are at, as close as possible to retail outlets, as close as possible to taxi ranks, as you say, but places where people congregate. And we have piloted that, those search sites around the SASSA payout days, and they've proved very successful. We now have about close to, I think, 30 search sites in partnership with some clinical operators that are roving or mobile at these sort of places, and we hope to increase that over time to 100 sites. So really, this Vooma weekend, these Vooma weekends, I think for me, it's really about the spirit of the Vooma weekend. It's a spirit that is being catalyzed this weekend, and I think it's a spirit that we're being called upon as South Africans to take it upon ourselves, as individuals, as communities, and as the broader society, to really heed the call so that we can get back to some level of normalcy. And really, it's about even beyond this weekend. Can we carry that spirit of this Vooma weekend into Monday, into Tuesday, so that we reach those averages of getting close to 250,000 people vaccinated, so that we actually can get to the target of having as many adults vaccinated as possible by December.
Wendy, very quickly, I have to ask you this question, and I think you know that South Africans have become a bit skeptical when it comes to some things where government is involved. The Solidarity Fund is one of those things that South Africans are hoping will not get into the wrong hands. And what kind of promises can you make as the Solidarity Fund that you'll make sure that no funds suddenly go missing?
Incidentally, as you say that, this past Tuesday, we released our audited annual financial statements and our integrated report. A sterling performance for an organization that was formed literally 18 months ago at a very heightened crisis time of the lockdown. There's been no malfeasance or corruption that has been found in the work that we have done across procuring and delivering PPE, across supporting, for instance, the vaccine rollout through the Sisonke program that we knew was about vaccinating 500,000 healthcare workers, through the work that we're doing in food parcels, food distribution, farming input vouchers, as well as the support that we've been giving to gender-based violence to support victims of gender-based violence. So I think South Africa can rest assured that the Solidarity Fund follows very stringent governance processes, has got the relevant resources to make sure that we do the work that South Africa has called upon us with integrity, with respect, and most of all, understanding that there is a trust deficit between the citizenry and government, and that we are one of the organizations that can help to restore that in a way that is impactful and in a way that I think changes people's lives at the very level that they live them at.
All right, Wendy Tlou, let me thank you very much for that. And of course, South Africans, I hope we'll be able to keep them to their promises. That's Wendy Tlou from the Solidarity Fund. Let's take